Alright, I am back with one more video. I thought I'd roll a few innings of Fall Classic Baseball. Again, this is a game I do not play a lot, so I might have to grab the instructions here and there if something comes up that I don't know how to handle. But again, this is a fairly simple game to play. It uses just two D6s and a D20. I have a 1974, this is actually 1974 opening day. Cleveland Yankees at Yankee Stadium. It was Gaylord Perry and Mel Stottlemyre. So a pretty good opening day game. It's actually interesting. It has Chris Chambliss in Cleveland's lineup here to start 74. He would be traded to the Yankees, I think, in this season, 74. But we have Gaylord Perry on his A stuff and Mel Stottlemyre on his C stuff. So advantage to Cleveland. In Fall Classic Baseball, you can have either your A, B, or C stuff. You roll a bullpen session and you want your A stuff, but Stottlemyre got stuck with his C stuff. So we got the top of the first. We got John Lowenstein, guy you think probably more with Baltimore, but here he is with Cleveland, leading it off for Cleveland. And it's going to be Lowenstein, Oscar Gamble, another guy you think of with the Yankees, and George Hendrick, who I think of with the Cardinals. But we'll see what happens. We're going to roll two D6s, and let's get started. Remember, Stottlemyre on his C stuff. Trying to remember that as we go along. And we get a 41 right away, which is... First, you got to check Lowenstein, but it's blank. So you go to the pitcher, and on the C41 is a walk. So Cleveland gets the first guy on. We're going to use the auto steal system, so you need the plus sign to steal, and there's no plus in the 41 for Lowenstein, so he will stay at first. And that'll bring up Oscar Gamble. And Gamble is where? He's on page 2. I can never find Oscar Gamble. I don't know why. And why can I not find Oscar Gamble? Come on, Oscar. Where are you? Oh, there he is. He's on the beginning of page 2. All right. Oscar Gamble is up. Left-hand batter against the righty Stottlemyre with Lowenstein on first. The second set of dice just if we need extra dice, but we're going to basically be going with the top dice. If we need extra dice, we can use the bottom dice. So here we go. 64. Now 64 on Oscar Gamble is blank. Stottlemyre C grade 64 is an out. We have an out with a runner on first. Fall Classic has, you could use charts, you could use fast action cards. I'm using charts. I have them in front of me. So we use the D20 now, which is a 2 on the chart, and that's just a fly ball to center field, and the runner holds. One out. The D20, the blue D20, will be what I use on the charts for outs and for other stuff, splits. And that'll bring up George Hendrick. George Hendrick will bat against Mel Stottlemyre with a runner on first and one out. All right, 44 doubles are good for the hitter. 44 is a base hit for Hendrick. So that's a single. It does have a plus sign, but the base is going to have to be open for him to have a steal attempt. First, I got to go to the hit chart for a runner on first. And again, I'm going to use that 7 on the D20, and that's a single to left field. And on a 7, a single to left, holds at second, but can run with risk. We're going to hold Lowenstein, so he's going to stop at second. First and second, one out for Ellis. So the Indians are threatening here. They got John Ellis up with first and second, one out. Let me bring up the first and second chart in case I need it. And here we go. And now since Hendrick doesn't have a base to steal, so even though there was a plus at the end of that single, there's first base in front of him is not open, so he can't steal. First and second, one out for Ellis. And we go 25. 25 is out. So I'm going to look on the 1 for runners on first and second. It's a grounder back to the pitcher. And it says white die, one runner advances, otherwise fielder's choice. So the white die is a 5. So it'll be a fielder's choice at second base, 1-6. So Ellis is on at first. They get Hendrick. And Lowenstein will go to third. So it'll be first and third, 2 out for Charlie Spikes. So that's the force at second, and that'll bring up Charlie Spikes. Chance for the Indians to get an early lead. Stottlemyre trying to get out of trouble. 43 is blank. We go to the C grade Stottlemyre 43. It says walk 1 to 4, but it's a 6. So it's not a walk, it'll be an out. If it's not a walk, it's an out. So that it doesn't really matter, but a 6 is a grounder to short. So that will end the inning. Indians don't score in the top of the first. And we're going to go to the bottom of the first, and we're going to get Gaylord Perry on the mound. The Indians in 74 had 2 Perrys. They had Gaylord and Jim. But this will be Gaylord Perry on the mound, and Roy White will lead it off for the Yankees. So it'll be Roy White against Gaylord Perry. Gaylord Perry is on his A stuff. So an advantage for Gaylord, who won 21 games and had a 102 whip in 1974. Roy White batted .275 with 7 homers. And a 66, that's good for the offense, but White does not have a homer at 66. He only has a double 1 to 16, and a 12 is a double. So White leads off with a double here for the Yankees. And he will be on second for Mike Hegan. I don't know where I had Jim from. Mike Hegan will bat with a runner on second and nobody out. And we get a 26, and that's usually a lefty-righty split result. Here we go. If this is saying if the pitcher is right-handed, it's a base hit. Perry is right-handed, so that is going to be a single, and those are automatic 2-base advances. So that's going to score White, and the Yankees take a 1-0 lead. So a double for White and a single for Mike Hegan, and the Yankees quickly lead it 1-0, and that'll bring up Thurman Munson. So runner on first, nobody out. Perry gives up a quick run. And we get a 53. So now this is a 53. This is going to be a range play. First we have to check the KD. Gaylord Perry, see under his A column, which he has his KD 1 to 4. If that D20 was in the 1 to 4 range, it would have been a strikeout. But since it's a 9, it's not. So now we have to go to the range chart. And we're going to use that, we're going to re-roll on the range chart. We'll use the bottom for the range play. It's a 24, so we're checking the range of the right fielder, and the range of the right fielder is Charlie Spikes. So let's see what Charlie Spikes' range is in right field. And tells you down on the bottom here, right field, his range is an 8. And that, unfortunately, for Charlie Spikes is a 5. Oh, it's a 5. So we're not using a 9. We're using the bottom number. So it's a 5. So it's actually good. It's in his range, and he makes the play. So that's going to be a fly ball to right field and an out. Runner will hold it first. So yeah, if we were using a 9, he'd be in trouble, but we're using the bottom numbers because it was a 24-5, and that is a range play to right, and it's within his 8 range, and he makes the play. Charlie Spikes gets the job done there. Back to Gaylord Perry, and with 1 out, we'll bring up Bobby Mercer. So Mercer's up against Perry. 1 out, 1 on, and 1 in. And we get a 64. That's blank on Mercer. Perry's A grade 64 is an out. That's an out with a runner on first. And the out is a 17, and that's just a fly to left. So 2 out. Obviously 7 and 17. That's the same as this, when you're scoring. A 7 is left field, so it's a fly to left. That'll bring up Bloomberg with 2 out and a runner on first. Ron Bloomberg, famous for being the first DH in the American League. And we go Gaylord Perry to Bloomberg, runner on first, 2 out. 1 run in. And a 26, that's lefty-righty split number again. And again, Perry's right-handed, so that is going to be a base hit for Bloomberg. So again, we got to go to the runner on first chart and look up 12. 12 is a single to center. And it is advancing to third base for Hegan. Mike Hegan makes third. First and third, 2 out now for Nettles. So the Yankees continue to threaten. They've gotten a couple of those lefty-righty split hits. And Nettles has a chance, first and third, 2 out. There's a 62. That's blank A grade Perry. 62 is a strikeout, and he gets out of the inning. First strikeout. He does give up a run, though. So we're going to go top of the second inning, and Stottlemyre is going to face Chris Chambliss, who is a fairly famous Yankee. Big home run in the 76 playoffs to get him to the World Series, where they got swept by the Reds, unfortunately for the Yankee fans. Chambliss, interesting. You always think of him with the Yankees, and he does play with the Yankees in 74, just not at the beginning of the season. I know he has a card, if I can find it. It's in here somewhere. Where is Chambliss's card? Until you get to know the teams. There he is. He didn't have a lot of at-bats with Cleveland. Just 67 ABs. So he will lead it off against Stottlemyre. Remember, Stottlemyre is on his C grades. Here we go. 61 is blank on Chambliss. C grade Stottlemyre 61 is still an out, and that's a 20. And a 20 on the out chart is a line out. Use the white die to the pitcher. Line out right back to the pitcher, Stottlemyre. 1 out. That'll bring up Buddy Bell. Buddy Bell, a really good third baseman. I think of him with Texas, but here he is with Cleveland. I remember him a little bit with Cleveland, but I think I remember him more with Texas. So 1 out, nobody on. And we got a 35. 35 is a blank on Bell. C stuff 35 is a base hit for Buddy Bell. So that's a single. And that will bring up Duffy with 1 out and 1 on for the Indians. Is Duffy on page 1? There he is, Frank Duffy, shortstop. And we have 1 out, 1 on. Let me get the runner on first chart up in case I need it. And Stottlemyre deals to Frank Duffy. 33, that should be a base hit. Oh, it's a 1-17, it's an 11. It is a hit. So that's a base hit for Duffy on the split reading. And that's an 11. On the hit chart, an 11 is a single to left, and runner holds at second. So Bell will stop at second. It's first and second, 1 out, as the Indians, who threatened in the first, are threatening again. I have to find Hermoso in this PDF. Just don't remember. There he is. There's Remy Hermoso. So we got first and second, 1 out. Stottlemyre in trouble in the first, got out of it. Now he's in trouble again in the second, trying to protect a 1-0 lead. Second baseman Hermoso will bat, and he will swing. And we get a 12 on Hermoso is an out X. Now this could be a double play if it's a ground ball. And a 7, 7 is a flyout, right? 7 and 17 are both flyouts. So the 1-2, the out X means if it was a ground ball, it would have been a double play if there's a runner on first. But the 12 is just going to be a fly to left. Runner's holding. And we're going to have first and second, 2 out for the top of the order, and John Lowenstein. So again, the Indians threatening, but they're looking to get that big hit to get to Stottlemyre. Stottlemyre trying to get out of it. Here we go. Pitch to Lowenstein. 64. Again, it's a blank. And we go C stuff 64. And it is an out. And that's a 15. And the 15s for a left-handed hitter is a grounder to first. So a ground ball to first base gets Stottlemyre out of this jam. And we go to the bottom of the second with the Yankees still leading it 1-0. Get Perry up and get Gaylord back on the mound. And we got Sudeikis, the DH in this game, is going to be up. He's on page 2 maybe. Yep, Bill Sudeikis. First at bat of the game against Gaylord Perry, who gave up a run in the first inning, a double for White, and a single for Mike Keegan. So now we got a 14. 14 is an out, and a 5 is a 5 with a left hand. He's batting lefty. He's a switch hitter batting lefty. So a 5 is a grounder to first. 3-1 put out, 1 out. That'll bring up Stick Michael, who would end up being a really good GM for the Yankees. And he also worked in the front office for a long time. Stick Michael will bat. First at bat of the game. And a 44, that's going to be a base hit for Michael. If you roll doubles, it's good for the offense usually. And that 44 will be a base hit with one out for Gene Michael. And it'll bring up Jim Mason, light hitting Jim Mason. Shortstop for the Yankees. With one out and runner on first, I'll let him swing. I should double check. There was no base running on that 44. No, there was no base running. So Jim Mason will bat. One out, runner on first. And we get a 52, so now we're going to have an error check. Now we got to check the KD again, but again he misses that 1-4. 1-4 would have been a strikeout, but now we got to check for an error in the 52 chart. And we're going to use the bottom number 66, and that's going to be a shortstop error check. So the shortstop is Duffy. What is Duffy's error number at short? Duffy at shortstop, his error is a 4, and that's a 5. So no error. So that's just going to be an out. And now I got to read on here 66. If the out is made with a runner on first, runner on first only. If the D20 is odd, it's a double play, and it is odd. The D20 is a 5. So that's going to be a ground ball double play. So not only does he not make an error, but he returns a 6-4-3 double play. So on those error checks, they tell you on the right side of the chart what happens to the runners if it's an out. And in this case, if it was even, it would have been a fielder's choice, but odd is a double play. So that is the end of the second inning. And we have a 1-0 game going to the top of the third inning. And again, I'm just getting used to playing this game, so try not to make too many mistakes, but the only way you learn is to play these games, and then you get experience doing it. We got Oscar Gamble leading off in the top of the third. Both these pitchers can go a long way, so I'm not going to worry about batters faced right now. Perry can face 37, Stottlemyre can face 34. So Gamble will lead it off. He flied to center in the first. He's up here in the third. The Indians have gotten base runners, but they haven't been able to score so far on Stottlemyre, even though he's on his C grades. There's a double. There's a 55. There's a double number, and a 3 is an actual double for Oscar Gamble. So Gamble is on second with nobody out. That's how the Yankees scored, a leadoff double by White. So here Oscar Gamble gets the leadoff double. 1-7 double, an 8-13 would have been a triple. So Gamble's on second with nobody out for George Hendrick. And once again, Stottlemyre is in trouble. He's been in trouble in all 3 innings. Somehow has managed to get out of it, but here with a runner on second and nobody out, Hendrick will swing. And we get a 61, which is a blank. C grade 61 is an out. We got to go runner on second base only, and the out number is a 16. And that's a grounded to short. But even though it's a grounded to short, the runner advances. So that's interesting. On the chart, it's a grounded to short with a runner advancing to third base. So it could have been in the hole. Shortstop makes the play, but the runner is still able to get to third base. So now we have a runner on third with one out. Get the runner on third chart out. Top of the third, Ellis is up. Runner on third, one out. These are always tough decisions on what you do with the fielders. I guess I'll bring the infield in because there's nobody else on base and there's one out. So there's less of a chance of a big inning. We'll bring the infield in this case. Runner on third, one out, try and protect the lead. Stottlemyre against Ellis. He'll pitch to Ellis. Infield in. Trying to cut off the run. And we get a 63 on Ellis's blank. Stottlemyre 63 is out. The out is a 20, and that's going to be a line out. So now we got to look at the white die as a 3, and it's a line out to first. There's no chance of a double play on that one. It tells you in the chart whether there's a chance for a double play. And with a runner on third on a 20 and a 3 on the white die, it's just a line out to first. No double play. So 2 out, runner on third. And it's going to be up to Charlie Spikes to try and get a big hit here off Mel Stottlemyre. Indians again threatening, but they have not been able to score. Let's see if Charlie Spikes can come through. Stottlemyre is ready, and here's the pitch. And a 21 on Spikes is a strikeout. So he does not get the job done. That is the first strikeout for Stottlemyre, and he came at a good time. Yankees protect that 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the third, where they're going to have their leadoff hitter Roy White facing Gaylord Perry. Let's get Roy White up here. Overall, this is a pretty easy game to play. It's fun to roll out. It can be a little offensive, but that has not been the case here. We're getting a lot of base runners, but only one run. So we got Perry facing White. White doubled and scored in the first. And a 63 on White is blank. We go to Perry's A grade 63, and it's a strikeout. That is his second strikeout. And there is one out, nobody on for Mike Keegan. Mike Keegan will bat. And here's the pitch, and a 53. So here we go with the KD check again. Again, we have to check the KD number, but it's too high with the 13. So we're going to roll on the 53 chart as a range check. So we're going to use the bottom number on the 53 chart. That's a 34, and that is a shortstop range check. So that is Duffy again. Feels like we've been picking on Duffy in this game. What is Duffy's range? At short, he's a 13, and that's a 1, so he's going to make that play. So we'll just put it down as a 6-3. And there's 2 out, nobody on. Range plays are pretty easy in this game to check. Get Perry back up, and we get Thurman up. Thurman is 0 for 1. He flied to right in the first inning. 2 out, nobody on. Bottom of the third. Yanks lead at 1-0. Gaylord Perry on the mound, settling down here in the bottom of the third. Munson's going to try something to get here. Now there's a ballpark check. 46 is a ballpark check. So we're at Yankee Stadium. So we got a, and we're going to use the 16, and I think that's a foul out. But let me just double check. Got to find Yankee Stadium here on this PDF. I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay, so, and who was up? Munson was up, right-handed batter. And oh, yeah, that's right. This is 74, so this is interesting. Yankee Stadium was being remodeled in 74 and 75, and it reopened in 76 when they won the pennant, and Chambliss hit that home run I talked about earlier. So in 74 and 75, they actually played at Shea Stadium. So here we are, even though this is the Yankees team, we got the Shea Stadium ballpark chart, and we look under right-handed batter, and we look under that 16 that we rolled, and it is a foul out. And since Munson's right-handed, it's a foul out to first base. So yeah, that's an interesting little quirk in the 74 season. The Yankees played at Shea while Yankee Stadium was being refurbished. So that ends the third inning. Yankees go down 1-2-3. We're going to go to the top of the fourth. Stottlemyre will go back on the hill, and let's see who's leading off. Chris Chambliss. Oh, we were just talking about Chambliss, and Chambliss is going to lead off. It would be perfect if Chambliss hit a home run here, as we were talking about his 76 home run that off the Royals that put the Yankees into the World Series right when they reopened the Yankee Stadium. So here we go, top four. He lined out to the pitcher his first time up, facing Stottlemyre. And we got a 15, and a 15 is an out. 15 is an out, and I should be remembering these by now, but a left-hand batter 15 is an unassisted ground out to first base. So Chambliss is retired, 1 out. And that'll bring up Buddy Bell. Buddy Bell is right there. 1 out, nobody on. 45 is blank on Bell. C stuff 45, and that is an out. That's his only out. Well, he has a 43 partial and a 45 out. So that's a 16 with the bases empty, and that is a grounded to short, 2 out. So we will bring up Duffy with 2 out and nobody on for the Indians. So far, the Indians have been threatened every inning, but so far here, they're 2 up, 2 down. Stottlemyre may be settling down, but there's a 44, and there's their base hit. And now we're going to get some base running. That is a single for Duffy, but it's a single plus. So that means he can steal and try and get in scoring position. Now his SBS, his steal number is only a 9. And we have to factor in Munson is, what did they have Munson's arm? Because we could factor in the catcher's arm as well. Munson's arm is average, so that does not affect it. So let me just double check, because again, I do not do a lot of steals, but we have to look at the white, and I'm going to re-roll because it's not fair to see dice before you make these decisions. So we'll re-roll and use the top number. And we have to roll the white die along with the d20, because if a white die is 1, it'll be a pick-off instead of a steal. And he basically just has to get under his number or less. So he's looking for a 9 or less. We're not adjusting it because we could adjust it for the catcher's arm, but an average arm doesn't adjust anything. So we're going to look at the top numbers, and we're going to look at the d20 and the white die. If the white die is a 1, it's a pick-off instead of a steal attempt. It's not, and it's a 2, and he's safe. So he steals second base. Now, is there a chance of a throwing error if a number is a certain number? Let me see. Let me just check that, because usually there's a chance in most of these games for there to be some type of throwing error if the number is a certain number. I don't know if there is here. Alright, I'm not sure. I'm gonna if the d20 is less than or equal to the catcher's E rating, it's a steal and an extra base. So what is Munson's error rating? His error rating at catcher is a 3, and that was a 2. So that is under, so that's a throwing error. If the d20 is less than or equal to the catcher's E rating, it's a steal and an extra base for a bad throw. So we were using the top number, and the 2 is under his error rating. So Thurman, not only is Duffy going to get the steal, but Thurman throws it in the center field for a throwing error. And he's going to end up on, Duffy's going to end up on third with 2 out now. And Hermoso is going to have a chance, again, the Indians with a chance to tie this game and get a run on the board. With a runner on third and 2 out. And we're going to have to see if they can get something done. Got to find Hermoso. He's not on page 1. Where was he? There he is, Remy Hermoso. So 2 out, runner on third. Hermoso flied to left, first time up. Thurman makes the error there on the steal attempt. And Stottlemyre back on the hill. So let's get this a go. Here's Stottlemyre to Hermoso. Hermoso looking for a big key hit here. 14's not going to do it. That's out. And a 1 is a grounder to the pitcher. So we'll just mark that as a 1-3. And we go bottom 4. Yankees holding on to this 1-0 lead. Good pitchers duel. Good game. You don't get a lot of these 1-0 pitchers duels in Fall Classic. Bobby Mercer will be up. We'll give the Indians at least one more shot before we wrap this up. And we got Mercer up, bottom 4 against Gaylord Perry. 32 is nothing on Mercer. A stuff for Perry. 32 is an out. And 9 is a fly to right, so we're 1 out. That'll bring up Ron Blomberg. Where is Blomberg? There he is. 22, single 1 to 13, but that's a 15, so that's a walk and a plus. Interesting. So single 1 to 13, the rest is a walk. So that is a walk for Blomberg, but you don't think of Blomberg running too much. He was 2 for 3 that year. Who's the catcher for Cleveland is Ellis. Let me see what his arm is in this game. John Ellis's arm is... just had him. Where'd he go? John Ellis's arm is... catcher is average, so he's not going to affect the play. So Blomberg is a 13, and we're going to roll the top number again. And again, if the white die is a 1, it's a pickoff instead of a steal. He needs to be a 13 or less here. And it's a 16, and it's not a 1, so Blomberg is thrown out trying to steal. That's going to be a caught stealing 2-6. And that's the second out of the inning. So Blomberg, you don't think of running much, but he gets the walk and then the steal attempt, and he's no good. So Nettles will be up now with 2 out and nobody on. And we get a 21, and that is a K1 to 6, but that's a 7. So that's just going to be a regular out and a fly to left. And that ends the inning. So both pitchers pitching well here as we go to the top of the fifth, and we're going to have the top of the order. So this is going to be the Indians' last chance in this video to do something against Stottlemyre on his C stuff. Give him the top of the order and give him one more shot to do something here. And John Lowenstein is 0 for 1. He walked and he grounded out. So he's batting for the third time. He's 0 for 1. And here we go, 45, which is blank. Where C stuff 45, and that is the only, there's the out in his 40s. And a 16 is what? 16 is, just go back to, 16 is a grounded to short, right? I always forget that 16. Ground ball to short. It should be pretty obvious because it's 6 or 16 and the ground ball to short, and I always forget that. I don't know why. I think it's because it's that 16 instead of a 6. It throws me off. Oscar Gamble will be up. And I can never find Gamble for some reason. I don't know why Gamble keeps hiding on me. Come on, Oscar, where are you? Oh, I know, because I don't always have it on the end. There's Oscar. Okay, so it's 1 out, nobody on. Gamble flied to center and doubled. Got as far as third, but did not score. Indians are being shut out. 1 out, nobody on. And here we go, 23, K 1 to 13, and that's a 13, struck him out. That is the second strikeout for Stottlemyre, and there's 2 out, nobody on. It's going to be up to George Hendrick here in the fifth, as the Indians have not gone down 1-2-3 in any inning, but they're in danger of doing that here against Stottlemyre. 2 out, nobody on. George Hendrick singled and grounded to short, and there's a double for Hendrick. So again, Stottlemyre cannot get the 1-2-3 inning. He's given up another double. Gamble doubled in the third. And now here, Hendrick doubles in the fifth, this time with 2 out. 1-13 was a double. 1-15 was a double. 16 was a triple. The rest were singles. So Hendrick's on. No base running on that. So it's going to be runner on second, 2 out. And it's going to be up to John Ellis to try and come up with a big hit here to tie this game up. John Ellis batting against Mel Stottlemyre. Runner on second, 2 out. Ellis is 0 for 2. He lined the first his last time up. 44, that's a base hit. That's a base hit for Ellis. So now I got to go to the correct chart. Runner on second, and it's a 14 with a runner on second. And that's a single to left, and the runner scores. So Ellis singles to left, and Hendrick is able to score. Here with 2 outs, he scores easily. And that is going to tie the game at 1. 1-1 here in the top of the fifth. Charlie Spikes will bat, and they finally get to Stottlemyre for a run. Spikes batting now against Stottlemyre. 35 is nothing. C-Stuff 35 is a base hit. Base hit with a runner on first. We got to see what happens to the runner. That's an 18. That's a single to center field on an 18. Oh, we got an assist chance at third if 1 out, but there's 2 out. Otherwise, holds at second. So with 2 out, he's holding at second. It would have been an assist chance if there was 1 out, but not with 2 out. Okay. So it's first and second, 2 out, and it's going to be Chambliss. Chambliss with a chance now to give the Indians the lead after the Yankees had led all the way with 2 outs and nobody on. Hendrick doubles. Ellis singles him in, and now Spike singles Ellis to second. Chambliss 0 for 2 so far in this game. Stottlemyre again found trouble here in the top of the fifth inning. Chambliss, Stottlemyre, 43, blank, C-Stuff 43, walk 1-4, but it's a 6, and he gets him out. He gets him out. So they threaten, but they do not get the lead here. We'll call that a ground ball to short to end the inning, but they do tie the game up at 1, and since they tied it up, we'll let the Yankees bat in the bottom of the fifth. We'll get this in 5 complete. We'll play 5 complete. It'll be the bottom of the order for the Yankees, though. They got Sudeikis leading it off, and Sudeikis is right there. So it's going to be Gaylord Perry against Bill Sudeikis, 1-1, bottom 5, and Sudeikis is 0 for 1. 15 on Sudeikis is an out. 16 is the grounder to short. 1 out. And that'll bring up Stick Michael. 25 is an out. 13, what is 13? 13, 13, 13, and Stick is a batting lefty here. 13 is a grounder to first. 3-1, 2 out. And that'll bring up Stick Mason. Yankees with the bottom of the order here. And Stick Mason was a pretty weak hitter in his career. He will bat with 2 out, nobody on. 16, 16, he struck him out. That is Gaylord Perry's third strikeout. The Yankees go down 1-2-3. So after 5, the Indians and the Yankees are tied 1-1.